Well, I'll tell you from a business perspective, we knew years ago we needed to work on the pipeline because we weren't getting the students and the graduates that we needed in numbers with the kind of skills we needed. And we go to the schools, and it was a real battle getting somebody on the phone who would agree to let a business person come into the school and talk to the students, because there was a lack of trust between the education community and the business community. Because we were complaining y'all weren't giving us what we needed, and y'all were defensive because you were working really hard to do what you were doing. And then we got to the point where we started working together and said, let's figure out what is the profile, what's it need to be, and then how do we get from here to there. Then trust was built, and we worked together, and now it's a whole different dynamic in South Carolina between the business community and our education communities and our districts.
Having that profile has spurred on the conversations that we now need to have to further education in South Carolina, because I think for too long we kept our focus on things that really didn't matter. I think everyone agrees that knowledge base, the skills, and those life characteristics are critical, and that has driven the discussions we're now having, not just in education, but in the business sector and throughout our communities.
You know, in the past, we said we were meeting the needs of every kid, but I don't think we could not. It was impossible to really do. For me to really see it now, the ability to meet the needs of every child is where the evolution is for me. Now it's not foreign. It's not fictitious. It's really, we're able to, in this model, we're able to meet the needs of every child. So if somebody's struggling, I'm able to go to them. When I give them something to do, I can go and check over here on my struggling students to make sure that they're really getting what they need. So that is the piece, I think, for me, is that piece where we're meeting the needs of every child is really coming to fruition.
Hands down would be engagement of all students. Sometimes, well, every classroom you have those kids that don't want to do, maybe because they struggle or maybe because they just haven't had a classroom in which they learn best. But this approach allows all students to be engaged all the time. Even if they are reluctant readers or they don't like math or maybe they are not good drawers or good artists, then they all work together and their strengths come out and they make a team.
Taking my learning to another dimension from usually it would just be like memorization. You know, I'd have a test, I'd study for the test, I'd remember it, then after the test, you know, completely gone. But then for project-based learning, you have the project, so you have fun and learning in the same thing, so you never really forget it. Like, you have the project about building a boat, but you learn about engineering. So you learn about engineering, but I remember the time, you know, had fun in class building a boat. So. For the schools who have not been able to do project learning, I highly suggest it because it has helped me as a student and it's helped me grow as a student. It's helped my, curriculum actually. You know, my grades, they were good, but project-based learning has just helped me and it's taken my learning to another dimension.
Because of Transform, me and my group created a wonderful product that may feature in American schools all over the world. And because of Transform, it brought my communication skills a lot up. Because we're working in groups and not just by yourself. Because by yourself projects probably won't get turned in on time. But other like group projects, you're united as one team. So that makes it all worth it and it makes it the best kind of thing you could do.
Well, our community is extremely excited to have the opportunity to do something along this lines. You know, often when South Carolina education is under the lens, the focus is on the larger communities. The fact that this has been provided to a small community along the I-95 corridor really has given a boost of confidence to not only our community but just to these kids in general, to know that there's a lot of attention being placed on them, to know that resources are being pooled to make sure that they can be successful. It's really given them a sense of ownership and a sense of pride. And I believe that is evident whenever you talk with them or you watch them work. They're engaged and they just simply know that we're all behind them and they're appreciative of that.
Thank you, Transfer.